I'm Karima. We are the co-founders of Carolina Black Book. And today we are continuing with our CEO chat, and we have with us Denise of Denise Benson Photography. Hi,
Yay!
Denise.
Thank you guys for having me.
So, of course, everyone knows we've been doing a few of these now, just looking, within our directory, people that we have worked with, the person who we can thank for our amazing brand visuals, our brand shoot we did with Denise. So just in thinking about and seeing that it is National Photography Month, we thought that it would be a good time for us to have a little chat with you.
Yes.
So I guess we'll go ahead and kick this off, ask you a few questions, and we'll go from there. So we always like to start out with just an introduction. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay, so my name is Denise Benson, as you said, and I am the owner and operator of Denise Benson Photography, which has now been in business. I just celebrated 10 years back in April of this year. So,
yay! I didn't know you were in business that long. That's a great accomplishment.
It went by so fast. It doesn't feel like 10 years, and been a lot of ups and downs during that time. But yeah, we made it to the 10-year mark, and business is better than ever. So I'm excited to see where it goes from this point forward.
Yes,
that is awesome.
If you guys aren't following her, you have to. I love, she posts pretty much every day, and I'm just always like, ooh, I love this, I love that. So yeah, definitely great at what you do.
Thank you.
So go ahead, Karima.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when it comes to consistency, brand consistency, like Denise, you are goals, like for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to be as consistent as possible.
So how did you get started with photography?
So I've always been a really creative person. I actually went to USC Carolina, which is how we all kind of know each other. And while I was at USC, I actually studied fashion merchandising. So I've always kind of been a creative person. Thought I originally wanted to be a fashion stylist, but my love of photography kind of came from when I did an internship at Essence magazine the summer before I got ready to graduate in 2001. I went to New York for the summer, worked at Essence, and I got to work in the fashion and style department. So I got to go along to the photo shoots and kind of see the behind the scenes of that whole process. And that kind of sparked the love of it and the interest in it. But it was like 10 years after that before I actually picked up the camera. So I sell insurance full time. I own an insurance agency with my dad in Lancaster, South Carolina. And if you can probably already tell, insurance is boring, not creative at all. So I just felt like I needed some sort of a creative outlet, not something to do for work, but just something to kind of get my creativity out. So in 2009, I decided to take a class at York Tech College in Rock Hill. Just a basic intro to photography course and it's as basic as this. I wanted to learn how you can take pictures where the person is in focus and everything behind them is blurry. Didn't know what the term for that was, didn't know how to achieve it. So that's what I wanted to learn how to do. And then after doing some research, realized that you have to have a professional DSLR camera. This was long before, iPhones and stuff can do what they do now.
Right.
But so I decided to take a class at the local college. And then it was like a year or two after that when I actually first bought my first professional camera, decided to test it out and took my best friend and her dog to a local park just to snap a couple of pictures to get some practice under my belt. And then I posted those to Facebook and it literally took off from there. It was just supposed to be a hobby, just something fun for me to do. But then I had people in my inbox, how much do you charge? And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Wow, that's great. I didn't know all of that. So I actually took photography. I was a media arts major, so I actually took some photography courses in school. So I know what you mean about the whole f-stop and the blurry background and all that. So it's definitely you have to think about it backwards in some instances as far as the f-stop number and everything. So
right.
It's a little confusing at first, but definitely once you get it, you got it. So
right. After that, it's easy. It's like, once you learn how to ride a bike, you just know how to do it. So now it's second nature and I don't think about it anymore. But in the beginning, I was like, what are all these numbers? What does this mean? What does that mean? But yeah, now it's second nature.
So I'll take the next question. Of course, 2020 was rough. Just thinking about, you know, who would ever even thought that one, we would go into a pandemic, that it would last as long as it has lasted. And lo and behold, like oh yeah, so ready for new year is 2021 and we're still in the midst of this pandemic. But luckily, things are at least getting better, and hoping that it will come to an end soon. But just thinking about the pandemic, how has it impacted your business?
So I actually, and I think I just happened to be in the right niche of photography at the right time. So 2020 was actually the best year that I had in business ever in the entire 10 years or 9 years at that time that I was in business. It was my best year to date. And I mean, it did impact it at first. So, when everything first got shut down and we kind of didn't know much about the virus, didn't really know how it worked or anything, I completely shut down my photography business for 2.5 months. So I contacted all the clients that I had on the books from like March to May. And, they obviously understood because we were all going through it together. So I just, kind of blocked off all those sessions, told them we would reschedule when, we were thinking, oh, by summer, the summer will kill the virus and we'll be so I was like, yeah, by June we'll be okay. So I was like, let's just postpone all the shoots until things kind of clear up in a couple of months and then we'll reschedule. So I did take 2.5 months off, and obviously I wasn't making much money. Some clients were booking for future sessions, but for the most part, I wasn't really making any money in photography during that time period, which was still nice because I actually had my weekends free again because I shoot during the week and on the weekends mostly. So it was nice to kind of have that time back to myself to kind of do some self-care and just to be at home for a little while. But then when things kind of seeing people were going back out a little bit in May. I started shooting again. And I think what happened, and the thing of being a branding photographer that helped me during the pandemic, was that a lot of people either were laid off from work or they just were working from home, which allowed them to also work more on their own interests and their own side hustles. So a lot of people needed branding images. So that's where I come into play. And so this last year was actually the best that I had. And this year is actually already on track to be better than last year. So it's been a blessing for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
For just what was such a challenging time. And I mean, and with you being a branding photographer and, having such a great year last year, working with more brands, I'm sure that you helped them to either jumpstart, their businesses, or to, keep their businesses afloat. So I mean, just thinking about last year and its challenges being your best year yet, and then this year it will actually, like, oh yeah, 2020, whatever those challenges, bam, like I'm like I'm gonna top that. I just think that's amazing. That's a blessing. And kudos to you, and just all the hard work and everything that you're putting into your business, because yeah, this pandemic hit all of us and we didn't know what to really do. So that pivot that you made, that's great. That
Thank
is great.
you. Thank you. Yeah, it was definitely a blessing because a lot of people in the photography industry, wedding photographers in particular, took a hard hit last year. So I just
Mhm.
happened to be in the right, field of photography with branding when it hit that it worked in my favor. Thank goodness. Yeah.
We really enjoy working with you on our branding for Carolina Black Book. And I would have to say that Denise is like hands down the most professional person that I've ever worked with. Like, she's got everything down to the T, like responsiveness, just her willingness to really figure out what it is that you're trying to do and what you want. Like, it was just a great experience from start to finish. So if you could explain to people, because I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between like branding photography and then just like hiring a photography just to take photos.
Right.
Photographer just to take photos.
Right. So I actually try to teach that. I talk about that in my Instagram posts sometimes, or in my Instagram stories or IGTVs. I do try to tell people there is a difference, because you're not like, just like, and not to compare myself to a doctor at all, but just like, you have a general practice doctor, but then, that general practice doctor will send you to like an orthopedic doctor if you're having issues with your foot, or they're going to send you to a different specialist for what you need. And it's the same way with photography. You wouldn't want somebody that does wedding photography for a living taking your branding pictures, or you wouldn't want somebody that's just a general portrait photographer to do your branding images. Sure, they might be able to take really nice pictures for you, but I feel like the process, and since you guys have kind of gone through the process with me, you know what it's like and how it kind of differs if you're just hiring a regular photographer. I go through steps of having, I send out marketing materials to my clients to help them better prepare for their sessions. We do a strategy call, like a Zoom meeting, where we're talking about the session. We're talking about the types of images that you need for your social media account, website, marketing materials, all of that stuff. And 9 times out of 10, if you're booking somebody that doesn't do this for a living, they're just going to show up and take pretty pictures of you. And like I said, they may be nice pictures, but they're not going to be what you need in order to really take your brand to that next level and to make you stand out for your clientele so that they can find you and kind of differentiate you from your competitors.
Yes, all of that. everything that she said.
Yeah, and just to echo, what you say, you do a really good job just preparing your clients for the shoots, because when we were trying to figure out what we wanted, or where we even wanted to do the shoot, some of the resources that you shared were like, okay, this is really good, or just kind of looking like, oh yeah, that's a good location, but it may not necessarily tie into what we want to do, or hey, let's, consider this. So those things came in, very handy, what was very helpful for us. So just, I guess, thinking about preparing for a photo shoot, what are some of like your, whether it's your top tips that you give your clients to prepare for an upcoming photo shoot?
So for a branding photo shoot, I would definitely say you kind of want to get all of your ducks in a row after you book your session. So you never want to go into a branding session without really knowing what you're doing with your images. So that's the first thing, before you even hire a photographer to take your branding images for you, make sure you have a clear vision of what you want for your brand, because your branding photographer isn't going to be able to capture what you need if you don't know what you need. So that's the first thing. Go in with a clear vision and a mission, then start seeking out photographers whose style you like and you feel like they can, make you and your brand look the best that it can look. And once you find that photographer, then my tips are make sure you hire the rest of your team. I have a lot of people used to, not anymore, but it used to be they would just hire me and that would be it. So, I said, when I say team, I mean, make sure after you book me, book your makeup artist, because I feel like, hiring a professional makeup artist is crucial to having, really good branding images, and not every makeup artist is created equal. So, when I recommend makeup artists to my clients, I make sure that they're looking to book somebody that's actually well versed in photo makeup, because, just doing regular makeup may not come across as well as having professional makeup for a photo shoot. So hiring your makeup artist, booking your hairstylist, start putting your wardrobe looks together. And if you don't know how to do that, hiring a wardrobe stylist, all of that kind of stuff comes into play. And then just kind of really buckling down and thinking about how you want to use your images and properly conveying that with your branding photographer. If that means, hopping on a call or sending them an email list of all the images that you need, letting them know, hey, I need headshots, I need lifestyle images, I need shots of me working. Think through all of that stuff. And then the week of the shoot, try to relax as much as possible. I get a lot of clients that are very stressed out the morning of their shoot. I always tell them there's something that's going to go wrong. So prepare for something to happen and go wrong. It'll be okay. We'll work through it, but prepare for it. Get lots of rest, that week, the week of your shoot, drink lots of water, and just come to the shoot ready to work, because even though it is hopefully a fun experience, it is also work, and you've got to do your part to make the photos look good just as much as I have to do my part.
Absolutely. Those are great tips. And I think one of the things that I was just thinking of as you were going through, just kind of listing the things to account for, in going into a branding photo shoot, it's that you actually have to plan for this stuff. So considering all these things, like you're not gonna like hiring a brand new photographer is not something you're gonna be like, oh yeah, let me see what someone's availability is next week. Like it doesn't work like that. You've got to plan ahead for these things. And also thinking about just the planning and branding and all of that. That's one thing that kind of sets Carolina Black Book apart in terms of the businesses that we have in our directory. I mean, we're looking for businesses who are actually registered as a business, and we ask for professional photos, preferably branding photos, because this is what if people are coming to see, what service you're selling, what products you're selling, guess what? Like all these things, like, photographers like Denise, like that's what they are working hard to, work, get with you, work with you at the photo shoot, making sure that you have the right visuals to go along with that brand. So, we're not just saying, hey, all these things, like this is what a successful brand, looks like. You've got to have all of these things. So I just had so many things like kind of running in the back of my mind when you were talking about that. And I was like, this just goes, really hand in hand with a lot of the things that we look for before we add a business to our registry. And again, like, just some of the great work that you put out. I mean, that's what we're trying to, make sure, like when people are looking down the directory, it's like, oh yeah, like I know exactly what this person is selling, or hey, like their photography looks great. So yeah, I think what you do is so important. And when it comes to just setting businesses apart, preparing them for, a successful either launch or even a successful, like, yep, I've reached this milestone and I'm, continuing to get better. So yeah, what you do is so important.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And I totally agree. Because I mean, if you go to two people that do the exact same thing and you go to person A's website and they have a selfie photo as like their bio photo or on their About Me page and then stock images. And then you go to person B's page and they do the exact same thing, but they have an entire branding package, basically, a professional headshot and then images that are of themselves in their website, not stock images. I feel like that sets this person apart from this person. And I feel like you're more likely to get hired, even if you do the exact same thing. If you're selling the exact same thing at the exact same price point, person B is the person that's going to get hired just because they invested in their business and in their brand through those images.
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
I agree. Yep.
So, what advice would you give someone who is interested in photography or wants to get serious about their photography career?
The first thing that I would tell everybody, because I feel like, and I know this is every market, but a lot of people always say, photography industry is very saturated, and that so many people want to become photographers because they think it's easy and it's glamorous and it's fun. And that's the first thing is it's none of those. Well, it is fun. It's not easy. It's fun sometimes, not all the time. It is fun, but it's definitely not easy, and it is a lot of work. The photo shoot part of it, I would say, is like 20 to 30% of it. Everything else is the technical and business side of it. So first of all, if you do want to get into photography, just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, not because you think it's a quick way to make money or an easy way to make money, because it's not. The other thing that I would say is don't go out and buy the most expensive gear in the beginning just because you think if it's expensive, it's good. I started out, I'm on my third camera now, on my third camera body, and I've gone through a plethora of lenses. So, start on the smaller scale and then work your way up, because you don't want to invest thousands of dollars into something that may never take off for you or something that you may lose interest in. So, start on the smaller scale, get the cheaper, more basic cameras first, and then kind of work your way up to the big body cameras if it's something that you decide to move forward with. And then practice every single day. Pick up that camera every single day until you really, really get to hone your craft. Even if it's just taking pictures of like your dog or your kids or your plants in your house, just something to kind of practice and to work your skills up. Yeah.
Definitely. So do you have a camera brand preference?
Yes, I am a Nikon shooter.
Nikon.
Yeah. Everything I have is Nikon, and I'm not switching to nobody else. So if Nikon wants to go ahead and sponsor me, feel free to do so. But yeah,
Listen,
I'm Nikon shooter.
we shot with Nikon in school, and I liked it a lot. I have a Canon now, and more so because I bought it for video purposes. So it's good for that. But yeah, I like Nikon a lot too. So.
Yeah, that's just what I started with when I took that intro to photography course at your tech. I took the class with just a regular point and shoot camera because I asked the lady when I signed up, do I have to have a professional camera? She said no. So I came with just my regular little point and shoot camera that everybody had back in the day. And I was the only one in the class without a professional camera. And so the teacher allowed me to borrow her camera to practice with during class. And she happened to be a Nikon shooter. So that's basically why I went the Nikon route. Yeah.
Gotcha. That was sweet of her.
What?
Cool. Well, definitely we have enjoyed our chat with you. We definitely want you to shout out like your website and your social media and all of that so that everybody can give you a follow and maybe an email if they're interested in booking some services with you.
Absolutely. So my website address is denisebensonphotography.com, and my social handles, you can find me on Facebook under Denise Benson Photography, and then on Instagram, Denise Benson Photography, and then Twitter, D Benson Photos. And then my email is denisebensonphotos@gmail.com.
And don't wait till the last minute, you guys, because Denise she's a busy woman, okay? She gets booked. She gets booked. Yes. So you definitely want to, like Karima said, you want to plan, in advance to get on her schedule. But she's definitely worth every penny that she charges, probably even more. So
thank you. Thank you.
We just got a compliment. I think yesterday someone complimented us on our branding photos on Carolina Black Book. Yeah.
Good. I'd love to see it.
Well, I think that's it for our CEO chat today. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.